What's up, people? It's me, Crimson 60620. I wonder if video is working. Um, hide that. Hide that too. Yeah, that should work. That should work. Um, we're here doing it live. Doing it live. Actually, about to play some Conan Exiles, and yeah, yeah. This shit right here. This shit right here. This is the new shit. Now I know I've been kind of dropping the ball on the commentary lately. I've just been so fucking tired. I had my show that was Saturday and Sunday. I was just like, eh. But I have been playing Spider Man for you guys, right? Right? Spider Man? I know. I'm just a fucking fool. Um, I don't know if you actually checked out my comments, my comment video yesterday, but it was actually pretty fun. I did it yesterday mostly, and then I had to put it together. You know? But check it out. So let's get started with the show.
You can support me at patreon.com/ Crimson60620 PS4 Gaming. And you can also follow me at Facebook, Crimson60620 PS4 Gaming. Thanks for your support and enjoy the video.
All right, guys. All right. So um, let's bring this up to full screen, and I'm here about to do a video. I just want to make sure everything is all set up. And you know, while I was recording that video the other day, I actually couldn't hear myself as loud as I wanted to. But yeah, that's not a thing. Hide that. All right. So let me just make sure all the videos are actually set properly. And yeah, there we go. We're gonna use that audio, and we're gonna take down the Conan audio. Remote play is okay. This now. All right, good shit. I'm actually. This may not be a half-ass show today. hmm. Oh shit! Like everything is working good. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is weird. I may have a little bit of lag, but oh wow. Let's just change this down. Okay. Process this a little bit better. Yes. God damn it. I know something's gonna fuck up. I just know it. Murphy's Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law. And can everybody hear me okay? For those of y'all who's watching, bring up the chat. This just means that I'm gonna have a fucked up ass experience when I start gaming. Alright. Wow. So let's get into it. All right, so this is one that I've been saving for a while, and I haven't been sufficiently outraged enough to actually fucking do. Um, well, mostly because I really fucking hate the subsistence that I have to make my living on because it's so dependent on the whims of change. And we need a better system. It's almost as if you get capitalism as in late stage capitalism in decline. And that's fucking a lot of us. And it's not even, using any lube or anything like that, Not asking for consent and shit like that. Just saying, do the shit. And it's basically late stage capitalism. Now it's ironic if you've been following the Democratic primary. What's actually pretty fun is how, for a while, everybody was going for, everybody in the donor class was saying, "Yay, Elizabeth Warren," and then, oh shit, she may win, and oh shit, her policies, even though they're not as progressive as I would like them to be, they are pretty fucking progressive. Almost to an extent where it's like, oh shit, she may win. And oh shit, she's bringing the heat. By the way, let me see. Don't need anything in particular for these motherfuckers. Alright, so let's get to the video, and I'm going to be making my way around to get some shit. So let's continue.
Welcome, friends, to another edition of Economic Update.
So, if you haven't seen this series before, damn, check out the rest of the videos. I'm sorry. If you haven't seen the series before, you can actually go and check out some of my other videos. I cover this because as much as I'm a fucking gamer, I'm gonna say that. I fucking love playing games, and I actually also am a huge motherfucking lefty. I am. I'm not gonna deny it. And it's actually pretty cool to bring this content to people that may not be gamers or may not be lefties. I find this shit informative. Now, has it been some things in my life that have facilitated my turn to be a fucking lefty? Fuck yes. And I don't have enough stamina. But that's the thing. I'm open and honest about the shit. And so we have Professor Wolf. And the title of this video is actually Capitalism in Decline. And I know you may be thinking, what? Capitalism is going strong. We have a strong-ish economy. And this is kind of funny because I was talking with my manager earlier today about how if those economic downturns happened as predicted, some things may not be as rosy as a lot of us would like to think of them in the very near future. A recession is setting to hit. Now, it turned negative for a while, the 10-year yield, where the 2-year bonds were actually more valuable than the 10-year bonds. But shit, things about to start popping off, and with that election coming around the corner, man, it's gonna be fucked up. But this is me rambling and raving about, an economic downturn that is still set to happen. We may be back in like these motherfucking Conan days, but let's go.
A weekly program that you're quite familiar with by now, and also familiar with me. I'm your host, Richard. I want to talk today in the beginning of our program about two parallel economic developments, one in the United Kingdom, Britain, and the other one here in the United States, because they really are quite similar, which is probably not surprising considering they were all both once part of the same British Empire, now long gone. But
Is this low? It's actually low to me, but I think you guys can hear it pretty fine. Okay, cool. But yeah, fuck. So it's interesting that he's bringing this up. Of course, Boris Johnson got elected as prime minister, and off the back, he is doing shit to fuck things up. Where it was like, oh yeah, he's gonna do stuff like shake things up, and then he's coming in and causing so much hell and havoc. It's fucking hilarious. But let's continue.
let's start with the United Kingdom. They suffered the great global capitalist crash in 2008 as badly as any country did. A little bit differently, they followed it with a very harsh austerity. They had bailed out the big banks and corporations. They had borrowed huge amounts of money. The government had to bail them out. And then immediately having bailed out the companies that actually brought them the crash, they turned to the mass of the British people and said, well, we borrowed so much money, we have to pay it back. We can't afford the services we provide to you. And they cut back the services and they laid off employees. Wages declined in Britain more severely than they did elsewhere in the last 10 years since the crash. It got so bad for the British people, they did something extraordinary. Namely, they decided that the fault was not the capitalism that failed to work for them, but rather the fact that Britain was part of Europe. So they had the Brexit vote where they voted to divorce themselves from Europe.
All right, that's actually pretty fucking interesting because it is one of those things that came out of the economic downturn where it wasn't fucking Europe's fault that the economic downturn happened. It was fucking these investors that were making big, risky ass deals. And as we saw with one of my previous videos that I did with Mark Blythe, it was effectively a robbery. Because what happened was banks and all these other lending corporations and all these other corporations that were borrowing money from each other, they lost the bet. And they held depositors' monies to ransom to say, hey, we may go down, and you know how your citizens may have a direct deposit? Well, we may not have the money to pay them. And so governments panicked. Not really panicked, but, oh, we have an excuse to give you more money? And they did that, and they gave banks money. And that was the thing. They quite literally allowed banks to say, fuck you, pay us, and banks demanded their money. Now, with that being said, they did turn to the people who entrusted them to, lead the fucking government to say, well, we gave them money, and now we're broke, and we had to borrow. Now you have to pay for it. They privatized the profits and socialized the fucking gains. And we see what happened. They got mad at everybody. And then you had these idiots like Boris Johnson come back and say, well, it was the immigrants, it was this, it was that, instead of the fucking capitalists that's like Boris Johnson that caused the fucking problem. Now, I'm ranting and raving for an extended amount of time. One, because I'm trying to make sure I get everything I can out of this place before I have to go to this expedition that I'm about to do in Conan, and because I love actually fucking repeating it. But let's continue.
That genius idea was the Conservative Party doing its part to focus people not on the capitalist system that was screwing them, but on the Europeans who weren't. And so they are now separating from Europe, which is causing them even more economic problems. All of this is managed by a ruling Conservative Party, led by Mr. Cameron at first, who caused the Brexit vote, then fumbled and bumbled by Theresa May, and now in the hands of Britain's own Trump, Mr. Boris Johnson, who is threatening to take Britain out in October, and God knows what will happen. This is a sad story. It is a story of capitalism's decline in England, and the inability of the people who lead it to face that reality and try to cope with it, but instead to engage in a real program of denial, blaming immigrants, how popular these days, and Europeans, how nice to blame foreigners. Notice, immigrants and foreigners are the problem, and you rail against them, and you leave them, and you expel them, and you imagine that this is going to solve the problem of a declining capitalism. The tragedy of it is that the decline is only getting worse, and the British people, deep in their souls, know it. And they're going to have to make big changes, or they're going to go down with it. Now let's shift to the United States, and you're going to see, if you haven't already.
So yeah, this actually just proves that narrative that was just being said. You see that a lot of people want to blame certain amount of people who have nothing to do with the problems that are being faced. They have nothing to do with it. They were just there. They were the excuse. But yet and still you see these group of people that don't want to face, they want to actually claim personal responsibility, but they don't want to face it themselves. The ruling economic class caused this issue. And if you've actually went back and watched some of my videos, especially the ones that I make about, the nationalists, what I never understand is that they're mad at people that have less economic power than what they do, and they feel like they're being pushed out. No, Tink Tink. No, Paul Little Tink Tink. Nobody with less economic power is pushing you out. They're not the ones that's causing you the issues. The people that are causing you the issues are the ones that are the freaking economic ruling class. What they're doing is taking your monies, taking your job, and shipping them overseas. And not the overseas that you can get to with a fucking ferry ride, but an overseas where you can't get to, and then other people are sucking at the teat of the bottom, just like you did. And you want to get mad because, this and that person is taking my job. No! These people didn't move your job to a motherfucking different part of the fucking globe. Globe, because the world is round. I gotta take a few shots at the flat earthers. But anyway, that's not who took your job. These people, China's not taking your job. They're not taking your money. Capitalists are moving your jobs to China. And for everybody who says, well, that's business, is the business have to make money, you're part of the problem because you're letting them screw you. And in turn, they're screwing the rest of us. And I don't like to be screwed without consent. Preferably from a big memory gland endowed woman. This isn't Crimson After Dark, so let's continue.
That the story is quite similar. I'll focus on Mr. Trump and the Federal Reserve. Here's the problem in the United States. We have a capitalist system, and everywhere that capitalism has existed as an economic system in society, the same truth has shown itself over and over again. Every 4 to 7 years, this capitalism has an economic meltdown. It's called a recession, a depression, a downturn, a meltdown. The words are endless because the repetition is endless. And we're now about 9 years from the last one, 2009 and 10, which means the averages are catching up to us and we're going to revert to another recession. Everybody in the financial world knows that and knows that it's only a question of when, no longer a question of whether. And now here comes the problem for Mr. Trump, which is parallel to the problem for the conservatives in UK who are Mr. Trump's parallel. Here's the problem. Mr. Trump is running for re-election just as he has been doing since the day he was first elected, and having to say that the economy is great. Well,
So this is actually kind of fucking weird. Only in America. Usually elections are only about 4 or 5 months. But only in America will you get elections the day after you get in the office. Now, let's be honest, Trump was using his re-elections as a way of laundering and getting money. Let's be honest, that's what he's really using the shit for. A way of raising money to cover fucking costs from the last time he ran for president. Because as soon as he got inaugurated, the day after, it was, well, let's start a re-election campaign. Because fucking presidential elections, they cost a lot of motherfucking money. A lot of money. And if you can get somebody else to pay for that shit, which is the thinking of a lot of these guys, why should I pay for it when I can get somebody else to pay for it? And that's why you have a lot of that's why you had that re-election. And it wasn't unique to Trump. Obama did it too. He did the shit. Like, he formally announced for re-election. The thing about it is, partially, I just don't like Trump because he's a fucking idiot. And two, well, damn, let me see if I can capture her ass. Come on, come on. Yeah, I am. Oh, I can't capture her. I can't knock her out. Fuck. I can't knock her out. Damn it. That fucking sucks. Anyway, but yeah, Trump's a fucking idiot. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie about it, shit. And he's just grimy and duplicitous. I would say it's Trump derangement syndrome, but we actually have evidence. But let's continue.
it isn't, because it's a capitalist economy about to have a nasty recession. And usually when you have had a recession postponed, the postponement makes it worse. You know, like having an illness that you don't attend to gets worse if you don't attend to it. Well, capitalism has a lot of parallels with illnesses. So Mr. Trump goes around saying it's wonderful. But the reality is, as his economic advisors know, that a recession is coming. This scares Mr. Trump. It threatens his re-election, because if that downturn we all know is coming because of capitalism, if that downturn hits in 2019, or even if it hits in the first part of 2020, it's going to hurt millions of Americans. They always do, these downturns, and those people are not going to be happy with Mr. Trump. And whoever runs against him will say, hey, Mr. Trump, it's the economy, stupid. Like,
Oh shit! And you know what? Here's the thing. This is the fucked up part about it. It's not that, and I'm gonna be very honest with you guys. It's not that Trump is scared about losing the presidency, because that's not what it's about. He don't want to lose the presidency because he wants to lose the presidency. He wants to lose. He doesn't want to lose the money because he was going fucking broke. There's no way that you charge $30,000 for a scam school if you're a millionaire or a billionaire. You just don't do that shit. And two, and this is also fucking delicious and fucking awesome, his ego can't take if he lost. Just like he literally has a phrase where he says he does no self-reflection because he doesn't want to know if he sees something that he doesn't like in himself. What type of shit is that? Pokey pokey. I'm sorry. I'm about to go. Anyway, his ego can't take it if he finds something he doesn't like. That's hilarious. But let's continue.
earlier candidates have done in the same situation. So what is Mr. Trump doing? Well, he's trying to blame the economic troubles on somebody else. And he's a specialist just like Mr. Johnson is in England. He blames, you guessed it, immigrants. Why not? And foreigners. Why not? The Chinese, you see, have been cheating us, and the Mexicans, and the Canadians, and the Europeans. Gee, the whole world has been just taking it out on the good old victim United States. It's a picture no other part of the world recognizes, but it sells in the U.S., or at least Mr. Trump hopes so. So he's going to blame them, but that's not enough, because this is a dupe.
So, you know what? This is what I never get. America is supposed to be so exceptional, so great, so proud, but yet and still, no, it's not our fault. It's not our fault. It's not our fault if we lose. It's not our fault because they cheated. They cheated. They cheated. Really, dog? Really? I guess they cheated. That's the reason why you seem like shit, because they cheated. Really? I guess if you're that much of a loser that you actually have to blame somebody else because you're supposed to be great, but you're not great. So it's them that cheated. I can probably understand why you're such a weak asshole. Or a weak little baby. Or a weak little baby man. Weak little baby man. And this is like, just not me just being a, prick or duplicitous with, words, or just being super overly masculine and overly sensitive. It's just like, no, you're acting like a child. And if you're gonna act like a fucking child, maybe you need to get treated like one. I'm sorry. A lot of these people that whine and cry that, oh, this and that country is doing us wrong, or these and that groups of immigrants are hurting us. Oh, this big bad man is scaring me. These are the people that claim to be fucking strong, claim to be exceptional, but one person is kind of hurting your feelings, dog. That's really what's happening. One person is hurting your feelings. You're scared by one people or a group of people. I thought you're supposed to be exceptional. I thought you're supposed to be great and strong and super powerful and mommy's big little man. Yes, mommy's big little man. You're so strong. And yet these cretins cry and whine that this isn't fair. Like that idiot child of a bully that somebody stands up and challenges them, and then they're crying about it. It is fair You hurt my feelings. Grow up. But let's continue.
Uzi that's coming. So he's decided to blame the Federal Reserve. You see, they should cut interest rates. By yelling about the Federal Reserve, he's already showing where the blame he hopes will go for the economic troubles. Not to him, not to his policy, not to his carrying out what capitalism wants while blaming immigrants and foreigners. No, no, he can now also blame the Federal Reserve. It didn't cut interest rates. And the second reason he wants that to happen is if you cut interest rates, you make it cheaper for people to borrow, maybe he hopes, he crosses his fingers, or whatever it is that he crosses, and he hopes that maybe with lower interest rates, people will borrow more, businesses will borrow more, and maybe the economy, the downturn, will be delayed a few months, just long enough to get him to slide back into office in November of 2020. That's what's going on. Capitalism is in fact in trouble in the United States as the extreme inequality makes evident every day, as the turmoil, everything from opioid crisis to mass shootings, gives you ample evidence. What is being done? Well, in the US, as in the UK, next to nothing. Instead, we engage in denial, blaming scapegoats wherever we can find them. Immigrants, foreign trading partners, the Federal Reserve, anything but the system. Because Mr. Trump, like Mr. Johnson, are loyal servants of the status quo. Don't blame the system. Don't change the system. That's the iron rule governing them. You can say whatever you want as long as you protect what puts you in office and what keeps you in office.
So, and one of the reasons why I also wanted to do this video today is because I was having a discussion, and without getting too deep into it about exactly what it actually entailed, I was having a conversation with my manager today. And I was noticeably consigned to a looking where you actually can see certain things that kind of are several indicators of like there are certain things that you see with certain businesses that you got to be like, hey, writing's on the wall. Something is about to fucking happen, and do we have a fucking plan? Do we have a strategy? And I'll admit, I was there today. I literally was there today where it was just like, hey, this doesn't look good. What I'm seeing myself actually looks really fucking bad. Is there any plans or something in place where, or, tell me the truth. Are we going to be around? And one of the phrases that I see a lot of people in leadership, and I'm going to say it's their job to actually dissuade concerns or fears because that's what they're in leadership. That's one of the key components of being a leader of people is to dissuade, to encourage, to fucking lead. But they're never there to shake up the system. They're there to make sure the system keeps going. They're there to make sure that the system stays in place. Now, you can say, well, that's what leaders are supposed to do. They're supposed to maintain the system. Yeah. And that's a problem for some of us. I know what I mean? And I don't mean that, we want to flout the rules or things of that. But these people are heavily bought into that system. That's what they're bought into. They are bought into the system where it says, hey, we need to believe this because it's our system. They're not going to rock the boat because it's their boat. And I get it. I fucking totally get it. And I don't down somebody who actually has to live in a boat, metaphorically speaking. But some of us know economic concerns or economic downturn. Some of us know this stuff. Some of us know that's what is coming up. And with things like this program, the ubiquity of different experiences, we're not exactly taking those lines anymore. And I don't think the status quo has actually, I don't think they actually thought about it. I don't think they actually saw the change in the way the systems are going, where, man, it's not 20 years ago where we had only a certain amount of news channels. And I'm not the one to actually tell people, like, hey, never believe anything from somebody else because you may get some information that they turn into frogs gay. You know, fucking around. But you get the idea of what I'm trying to say. We don't live in a media blackout anymore. The ubiquity of the information is there now. And some of the same old tricks of the trade don't work anymore. And I think we as a society, especially leadership, has to learn that you just can't say those things anymore. Because some people, they know it's not something that will be accepted by everybody. But let's continue.
That's the harsh reality. But the irony of it all is that the capitalism they're protecting keeps deteriorating because they're not facing what the problems are and what the changes needed to fix it are all about. And that can only go so far. Stories of decline of societies, coupled with blindness on the part of the people who lead those societies, that always ends badly. And here's the irony that history should have shown to both the UK and the US.
Ooh.
They were both parts of something once called the Great British Empire.
No
upon
shit,
which
run.
it was said the sun never sets because it's everywhere. Well, guess what? The people who led it lost it.
And that's the thing. That's a wonderful fucking thing about all of this shit. It's people actually say, "Whoa, this could never happen. This could never happen." But we have fucking examples of the shit happening. You'll never see it where this company will go out of business because they're strong with this and they're strong with that. But the companies have gone out of fucking business. But yeah, that's just funny. But let's continue.
It's gone, never to return, because they didn't face the realities of what it meant. And that sad story is being recapitulated right now in these two countries who pretend and hope everybody else does that what I just described is not going on. And that will end badly too. Come to the end of the first part of this program. Please stay with us. I think you'll find the second part interesting and valuable as well.
All right. Oh, I'm making fucking good time. So, it's actually fucking awesome that you see this. You actually see that. And I don't mean it's awesome as in far as people are getting hurt, but it's just. You get this sense that we need to take a different look, a different approach at some of the things that we're looking at now. We need to just address a few things. Oh shit. I need more stamina. We need to actually address a few things versus just thinking that everything will be fine and things will work out, because they never do. You know, and the thing about it is we're on an even bigger cycle. The capitalist system that we have now, it runs the same 8 to 10 year cycle of. It runs the same 8 to 10 year cycle of boom and bust, boom and bust. But another bigger cycle that is at play, or maybe you can say it's early, or maybe you can say it was late. But every 100 years, a cycle of feudalism, a cycle of boom and bust also happens. And what do I mean by that? Well, okay, that's where I'm at. Well, here's the thing. When you look at what happened 1812, French Revolution, because they were getting rid of feudalism. Again, 1912, getting rid of feudalism in Russia. 2012, you can say the economic downturn that happened actually was the rally, the total rallying up for capitalism, because that's the shit that was happening. Capitalism had almost run its course, but they pumped enough money into the system that caused it not to go bust like it could have. But maybe they just pushed it back. Maybe they just pushed it back because it looks as if it's about to go bust again. But at this time, I'm going to take a break and talk about how you can actually help support my channel. And what do you mean? What do I mean by that? You can actually subscribe to my YouTube channel. Link in the description. You can connect with my. Not only that, you can connect with my Patreon channel, my Patreon subscription, if you want to help support the channel. Or you can follow me on Facebook. And of course, follow me on Twitch. Now, I do have some Twitter channel. I have Twitter and Instagram. I don't use those effectively as I should. And I'm going to be a little bit better with that, I promise, because... Damn. Finger, rock, okay. I promise I'm going to be better with that because I'm going to try to put a little bit more effort into making sure that I put more effort into giving you guys more content and letting you know when I'm starting to stream. So let's go ahead and continue the video.
Welcome back, friends, to the second half of today's economic update. Before jumping into the two big topics I want to talk to you about today, one
I
of
love
which
these
is the
climate
political
boots, and I
economy
need to
of
get up there so I
immigration.
can repair them right.
The other one is what's going on in Latin America, with particular reference to Venezuela. Before doing that, I want to remind you that it is a very important support for us to have YouTube subscribers. If you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, Democracy at Work, please do so. It helps us enormously, and it's a simple click for you to do. And secondly, I want to invite you to make use of our websites, Democracy at Work, all one word, democracyatwork.info, and rdwolf with two F's.com. There you can communicate with us, sign up to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And finally, as always, a strong thank you to the support of our Patreon audience. We value your support and your interest. It is an important encouragement for all that we do. Well, let me begin with the economics of immigration, a topic that seems to be lost in all of the hoopla around the Trump administration's.
All right, so he's gonna go into immigration, and one of the things that, God damn it. So let's dispel this rumor, this targeted campaign that immigrants, if you come to this country, you're coming to this country illegally and you should go and get to the back of the line, and immigrants are coming to take our jobs and take our, get on just the government dole and actually say, well, they're taken away from hardworking Americans. No, the fuck they're not. You know what immigrants are doing? They're trying to get a fucking better life from the lives that we actually ruined with a lot of our drug policies and domination of Central America through overt and covert means. We broke Central America. We broke South America because they had a policy that we didn't like, or they had oil that we wanted to get our hands on, or our company's hands on. The companies that are American companies, they wanted to get their hands on it. So we broke a lot of Central American countries. Panama Canal, anyone? We did that to these countries. And you know what? We're still doing it. We're still starting wars in different countries, or we're still doing tariffs or embargoes, or what the fuck is that called? Oh God. Sanctions on different countries, because we don't like them because they're not doing what we told them to do. And that's not okay. That is not fucking okay. And the fact that we sit back and say, well, they're shithole countries because we made them that way. And not only that, a lot of these countries that are quote unquote shitholes aren't as bad as a lot of people say. It's just propaganda that is given to us because we want to make them look as bad off as we can in order to make ourselves feel better. But let's continue.
Behavior at our border. Immigration happens by and large because employers want it. They often are recruited directly and indirectly around the world to bring workers here. Why? The basic reason is it's profitable, which is why companies do most of the things they do in a capitalist system. So they bring immigrants, sometimes educated immigrants, sometimes not so well educated immigrants, because they're cheaper to employ than their native American counterparts. And now let's watch how this plays out. First, the Democrats. The Democrats reward support the employers in bringing in cheap immigrants by reading to them the imprint on the Statue of Liberty about how we as a nation welcome the poor, the tired, the hungry masses huddled around the world who want to come here. And that's how the Democrats help the...
So, this is actually a key thing where you see a lot of people patting themselves on the back. Oh, we care about immigrants. We care about their well-being. Where it's just a empty platitude to say that, hey, bring them here. We need their workforce. And yeah, I think I'm about to stay right here because I don't know where I'm at. Oh shit, oh shit, shit, shit. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, I almost got my ass just like flattened on the ground somewhere. Am I on the ground? Okay, cool. I'm not on the ground. All right, so yeah, they actually sit back and say, well, we're being progressive by letting them in. So you can bring them in at a cheaper rate. It's not the immigrants that's stealing your job, guys. It's the corporations that's offering and the people who will pay less because they're more desperate. Who will take less because they're more desperate. But let's continue.
employers get the cheaper labor. The Republican Party supports the capitalist employer in a different way. It works real hard to turn the native workers, watching the cheaper immigrants come in, turns the native worker against them, sees the problem as the poor immigrant rather than the employer profiting off bringing that immigrant here. If the native upset and anger at the immigrant community, moving into the school, moving into the neighborhood, moving into the jobs, bringing a different language and culture, if that boils over, then the two parties play a different role. The Democrats wave their scolding finger first at the Native Americans for being hostile to the immigrant, and secondly to the GOP, the Republicans, for a kind of racist support of all of this. The Republicans answer in again helping the employer by saying, oh, the Democrats only really support immigrants because they want their votes. While all this bickering between Republicans and Democrats goes on, the employers are laughing all the way to the bank. They are getting the extra profits from the immigrants. They are crowding them into housing for which they overcharge the rentals. You get the picture. And if it all begins to boil over to the point where someone like Trump comes in and builds an entire career around this kind of stuff, battling and yelling and accusing and blaming, if this actually works to stop immigration, what will the employers do? They'll do what they have always done when they run out of cheap immigrants. Some of them will move to where the immigrants came from, to hire them there and pay them the low wages over there, so that Americans will be wondering where the jobs went. And if that isn't feasible, then the employer will replace native workers, who are expensive, with machines and automate. The system is the problem. That's the problem. That's what has to be faced. It isn't this or that detail. The immigrants are here because it pleased capitalism to bring them. It's profitable. And if the noise and trouble that ensues makes it unprofitable or difficult, then we will solve the problem, say the capitalists, another way. We'll move the jobs over there, or we'll automate the job right out of existence. If you don't want to be on the wrong end of this problem and this process, Capitalism is your difficulty, not poor immigrants. It makes as much sense beating them up as if you ran into the factory and beat up the machine that replaced you. Grow up is the answer we need in the face of a system that is designed for profit and not for the needs of people.
So that was actually really fucking awesome. He said, grow up. If that's what the problem is, we need to fucking address the system issues. System reboot. That's what the problem is. We need a fucking system reboot. Because what's happening is people are fighting amongst themselves instead of the people that's pulling the strings. And like I hate being self-referential. No, I don't. I couldn't even get that lie out. But this is the shit that I'm talking about in all of my videos. If you want to talk about how you're stuck with a shitty ass choice because you feel like you're a man or you feel like and women are taking over. If you want to address that, fuck, I will give you your time and a motherfucking mic. Let's fucking address that. But that's not the problem that you're having. The problem is you're being forced to fucking compete in a slanted ass way because fucking reasons. Because fucking reasons. And it benefits somebody to see you fight other people. If it benefits somebody to see you fight other people, if you are told to fight somebody and it doesn't give you an immediate benefit, you have to ask, why is somebody telling me to fight this person? But a lot of people don't think that because they think, I'm going to mind my business and keep to myself. I'm not my brother's keeper. And people actually miss exactly what that phrase was meant to say. That wasn't a phrase to say, well, I shouldn't really care about other people. No, that was a phrase to say, I fucked up. I know I fucked up. Ah, shit. Please. I hit a patch. Oh God. Do I have enough? Do I have enough stamina to make it to this patch? I'm gonna be pissed if I don't. And I don't. Ah, damn it. Damn it. Okay, I'm gonna try to go around and see if it's a way for me to get around anyway. But yeah, no. We all have to fucking work together. And this is what I hate about this whole American exceptionalism, where they think I'm gonna be exceptional by myself. That wasn't the point of the fucking poem. But let's continue.
This is an old story, and if you ask me, which you are entitled to do, what should we do about immigration? Here's a simple two-part answer. Number one, every person who wants a job in the United States ought to be given the right to have one. A decent economic system finds out how to match the individual interests and passions and skills and enjoyments of individuals with what is needed in society. People are happy if they make a contribution to society, and society is better off if it can find and harness the creativity that varies from one individual to another. Either you do that well and you succeed as a society, or you don't. Currently, we don't. And if you did that, if everybody had a job, then you could have a proper democratic decision. There are people who would like to join us, to bring us the benefits of different cultures, different cuisines, different dresses. There are also people who need a better life, just as our own forefathers forefathers and foremothers did. And let's have a democratic decision whether we can find a place in our economy, as in our hearts, for people who need
Great, I make it.
help.
So this is one thing that I've never understood about people saying multiculturalism doesn't work. But it does. It fucking does. America is an example of multiculturalism working. It fucking works. And see, one of the things that kind of gets me about that whole multiculturalism doesn't work is not that multiculturalism doesn't work. It's I don't want to feel uncomfortable with learning about other people, or I don't want to feel uncomfortable with some of the shit that we did to other fucking people. That's why multiculturalism doesn't work, because we did some fucked up shit to people before and we don't want to think about it. But let's continue.
Many of us are devotees of religions that tell us that's what God wants us to do. It's remarkable how few of us seem to be listening. Let me turn now to the second major topic for today's conference.
He just threw some shade. This is one of the things that, hey, if you are motherfucking Christian and you don't see other people as children of your God, how do you fucking claim to call yourself Christian? Like, for real. Remember the whole phrase, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believe in him should not perish but have everlasting life. But you don't believe that shit. Because if you did, you would want everybody to have a meaningful existence in this life. So when you come to speak in front of your God, he would ask, not only how did you preach the word, but how did you treat the least of them? Because when you treat the least of them, you treat me. That's actually part of the Bible that so many Christians don't read. How did you treat the poor? What did you do for those who were in jail? When I was hungry, did you feed me? When I was in prison, did you come and visit me? That's in the Bible. But yet, you don't see it. Let's continue.
Conversation. It has to do with Venezuela. But really, the problem of Venezuela has to be put into a context. Venezuela is one of 20 countries in Latin America, Central America, South America, whatever you want to call it. Those countries have been part of the world for a long time. That means for the last 200-300 years, they've been part of a global capitalist system. They were never colonies, a few of them were, but most of them were not colonies. They had their independence once they broke away from Spain and Portugal, which were the major European countries that did try to colonize them and did colonize them early on. But they became independent countries. Their economies were capitalist. They were private enterprises by and large.
Yes.
They had markets as the institutions through which people
Oh,
bought
God,
and
yes.
sold their ability to work, and they buy the products that their work helped to produce, etc. Free enterprises, private enterprises, markets. The accoutrements of capitalism. The basic relationship in their production systems was the relationship of employer to employee. The employers were a small minority, the employees were a vast majority, and this was the way the economy was organized, which is why it deserves the name capitalist for the last 200 or 300 years. There have been very few exceptions. The only exceptions right now that deserve the name are Cuba and Venezuela. What can we say about capitalism and South America? Well, the answer is very obvious. In every country, there is a small minority of very rich people, and I'm talking Mexico to Chile and everything in between. A small minority of very rich people and a vast majority of extraordinarily poor people. If you go to a major city in Brazil, South America's largest country, you will be taken, if you dare. I've done this in Sao Paulo. You'll be taken, if you dare, by a host, if the host dares, to the edges of the city where the vast majority of the city's residents live. Those areas in Brazil are called favelas. They are some of...
All right, so let's just talk about this. So, in a lot of the Central and South American countries, they're fucked. Like, they're literally fucked. And not saying that they're just bad countries. No, you have so many countries where it is a lot of fucking rich people, like you said, and a lot of fucking poor people. I mean, excuse me, very little rich people and a lot of fucking poor people. And it's not... It is only about 2 countries that are socialists, even though the Bulgarian system of countries that General Boulevard actually fought for, it was more on the... It wasn't exactly capitalist system, but they turned to a capitalist system. And you get Venezuela, which is one of those countries, as well as Cuba. Now, Cuba, out and out rightly, they did some fucked up things. They did. They did some fucked up things when it came to their population. Not so much now as they used to. But they also have free fucking healthcare. And they're working on... Here's the fucking part about it. They're actually working on... I think they have a cure for lung fucking cancer. Or they're very close to lung cancer. Which is fucking awesome. More Cuban cigars, right? But this is something that... Oh no, I want that back. This is something that, because they've decided to take care of their citizens, it fucking helped out a lot of things. You can quite literally... It was one of those hurricanes, and I said it in the video before, that it was a hurricane that hit the U.S. hard, and as much animosity that Cuba has towards the U.S., it was like, dude, y'all okay? Y'all need some help? It hit us too, but we actually fucking found a way of motherfucking making it a little bit more manageable for us. And they actually have decided to, not in a way of where it's domination, but they have actually decided to try to be the EMT, quite literally, of the fucking Caribbean. And it's fucking awesome to see when it was like, no, let's not just try to be hostile. Let's just be fucking helpful to people. And it has fucking helped so many people. Now, they have some totalitarian shit that they really need to fucking fix. I grant you that. I fucking grant you that. But it was... You know, it's fucking helpful to see how people, when they stop just trying to do dick measuring context, it pays off. You want to see what socialism does to a nation. Cuba. I'm talking about Cuba. You want to see what socialism will do to America, see Baltimore or Oakland. Oh, Jill. You know, it's funny, Jill, and I thank you for watching, my friend. Have fun with that because I will say this, my man. We kind of live in a socialist society right now. The police officers that you know, have and, you know, wonderful things like fire departments. That's a socialist system because we all pay for it, even if we don't all reap the benefits of it. Socialism, dog. Socialism. But let's continue.
The worst slums on this planet. Every major city in Latin America and South America has huge populations of desperately poor people. People who don't really have homes or houses. They live in shacks of corrugated metal and cardboard where there's no real sewage and no real running water except on a few occasions when they all have to compete. The conditions are abominable, and they have been that way for the last 2 centuries. Capitalism develops unevenly, and one of the most glaring unevennesses are all over Latin America. Chile, Peru, Ecuador, Mexico, Honduras. It never stops. Well, what do you say about this? Well, occasionally, in every one of these countries, a revolution breaks out, which should surprise no one, because these conditions for the mass of people are horrific. Not just in Cuba and Venezuela. In 1954, the people of Guatemala had a revolution. They wanted to take over the land and distribute it equally, to undo the grotesque inequality that capitalism has reproduced for 2 centuries. But the United States got rid of the leader, Jacobo Arbenz, and he disappeared. And I could give the story.
So, yeah, this is the shit that I'm talking about. How Jill, if you only understood half of the shit that you say, the fact that we have safety nets means fucking socialists. That, oh God, like, really, dog, really. Okay, I just came from those mountains. Okay, cool. But yeah, let's continue. And so we see these things happening where it is like the U.S. fucked over a lot of people. They fucked over a lot of fucking people. They made and it wasn't just in South America and in Central America. You know, Iran had and Saudi Arabia had democratically elected people, or they had a democratically elected. There we go. The Middle East wasn't this hub of violent extremists that we have now because we fucked up because we wanted the fucking oil. We fucked up a lot of stuff. And you know, yay, cool. This is one of the reasons why we had such an issue. When we have such issues where they building a. Okay, now I understand the feat when you summon the. Yeah, that's about that big when you summon the altar, or whatever, the avatar. By Miltra. Anyway, so this is what's fucking happening. This is what we see. the U.S. doesn't like something, they come in and they mess up a system. But let's continue.
About virtually every other country. The United States has looked upon South America as its special area. We call that the Monroe Doctrine from back in the early 19th century when President Monroe declared that this was our area and the Europeans were to keep out. It was as if one big colony for the United States, which is how the United States has dealt with those parts of the world for pretty much the rest of the period until now.
So yeah, this is the start of the American imperialism, where the Monroe Doctrine says like, no, Europe stay out of our area. Let this is we were your colony, we didn't like it, but now we're gonna colonize somebody. Colonize someone else. Wow, I can't speak tonight. And we kind of fucked a lot of people over with that belief, with that doctrine of the Monroe Doctrine. And you see it evident in what's going on with South America now. But let's continue.
Yes, in 1959, Cuba's turn. It had a revolution. And the interesting thing was, for the first time, the revolution
was
threatened by the United States, indeed, like always. The attempt was made to overthrow the Cuban Revolution. Yeah, it was 1961, Bay of Pigs. Look it up if you're not familiar with the history. But the new young leader in Cuba, a man named Fidel Castro, unlike Jacobo Arbenz in Guatemala a few years earlier, managed to survive. And his government managed to survive to the present day. In Venezuela, first Hugo Chavez and now his successor Maduro are trying, they're trying to overcome, to stop the horrific legacy of what capitalism has meant in Venezuela. A resource-rich country, oil,
okay, that's where it's at.
that is nonetheless the same pattern of a minority of very rich people, a majority of very poor people, and a small middle class in between, usually one dependent on employment from the very rich at the top. People have been critical both of Cuba and of Hugo Chavez, whom the United States, by the way, also tried to overthrow at the beginning, a botched effort that was the laughingstock of the world, if you know the story. But here's the interesting point. Are there things that Cuba and Venezuela do that are worth of criticism? Of course. Have they done things that we wouldn't want them to do, that a decent society shouldn't do? You betcha. They are not perfect. They are not the solution to the human problem. And they make mistakes, sometimes big ones, and they make people suffer. All true. All true. But you are no way going to undo 2 to 3 centuries of capitalist inequality, deeply ingrained in the consciousness of your people, by making a social change that has no blemishes, has no failures, has no cruelties. That's not going to happen. We might wish it, and I certainly do. And we might say it's important to point out the mistakes that the Cubans and the Venezuelans have made and are making. Fair enough. But once you understand the context, you will understand that the big problem facing Latin America is not Cuba and not Venezuela, neither of their regimes. They don't even have the history to justify it. The history is on the side of saying the big problem of the economic backwardness, inequality, and instability of Latin America. There the credit belongs where the credit is due. It's the capitalist system that has produced and reproduced their poverty, their misery, their inequality. If that isn't dealt with, you are going to have one revolution after another, as we have already seen. the future will be as the past has been. And will the United States each time be entering and trying to stop and control what in the end will win? The demand of people for an economic system that does not perform in the future as it has in the past. Overwhelming majority of people in Latin America want out of a system that has brought them the kind of suffering, the kind of inequality that is in fact behind the migration of people north to the United States because the conditions where they are.
So, and this is one of the things that just boggles my motherfucking mind, because it's never, you never see these people actually, oh shit, I got a fucking sandstorm. You never see these people that actually complain that, oh, what we did to these countries is fucked up. It's, well, they've had this system for 30 years, but we've been screwing them around for the last 200 years. You never hear these people complain. They complain about how they just can't get their countries together. You never hear them talk about how we actually put systems in place to make sure their countries will never get it together. We have systems in place to screw up other countries. And it's so bad, the systems that we have in place, that they're on fucking autopilot right now. Almost like the criminal justice systems that we have. Okay, cool. Come on, Sandstorm. Am I gonna miss the outer edge of it? You mean I climbed up here for no reason? God damn it. Alright, cool. I'm not gonna get the trophy for it. Well, not the trophy, the feat for it. Fuck me. Well, let's continue.
Are unbearable. That too is a product of a capitalist system brought to Latin America and South America by Europeans, left there, managed now by their own elites, their wealthy elites. This is not a sustainable situation, and finding fault with Cuba and Venezuela for how
Wait,
they
he got
have
tassels on
managed
his
to get out
nipples.
of this situation is an inappropriate, cheap shot that doesn't belong if you understand the economics of that part of the world. I hope you have found these discussions, first of immigration and then of South America, up to date, topical, and a useful corrective to what is so often said in the mainstream media about these urgent problems that need our attention. Thank you, and I look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Alright, so let's focus on me again. Bring it in. Alright, I'm gonna sit here for a while because I need to ride out the night. So, we went over this today, and it's all about capitalism in decline. And I'm going to be very honest with you guys. We need a different system. Now, am I advocating for pure communism? No. Am I advocating for the state to take over everything? Fuck no. What I'm advocating is for people to have more say so. more determination, more urgency in their life. And you should advocate for that too. Because in the end, that only helps everyone. It only helps you, it only helps me. And quite frankly, we all need a little help from our friends. I need a little help from my friends. But anyway, guys, I'm signing off for tonight. I want to thank everybody who's watched. And want to thank always thank you for my lovely co-host Jill. He always comes in and actually trolls, and I want to thank him for taking the time to come in and show his commitment to be a troll. Thank you, Jill. Thank you for watching, and thank all of you guys for watching. Please enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.